Hello, Baby Bean and everybody on Baby Bean Story Time. My name is Grandma Cookie, and today I'm going to tell you a story. First, I want you to grab your favorite stuffed animal, maybe your favorite blankie, and find your favorite reading spot. We're going to read Pinkalicious Fairy House. It was spring, my favorite season. I love how the sky looks like cotton candy at sunset. Every spring, our garden comes alive with blossoms of every color. I know why our garden is so beautiful. It's because of the fairies. Fairies come to our yard and sprinkle fairy dust to make the plants grow. I have never seen them, but I know that they are real. I can see sparkles outside my window. This spring, I had a plan. I would see the fairies. Pinkalicious, what are you doing? Asked Peter as I collected twigs and leaves. I'm making a house for the fairies to live in. Then they can live in our garden and we will be able to see them, I said. I want to see them too. Let me help, said Peter. He brought out his shell collection. Let's build the house here in the garden, I said. Fairies are sure to come this way. Piece by piece, we built a little house. I wove buttercups around the door. Peter made a pathway with his shells. Soon we had a cozy home for the fairies. I couldn't wait for them to come. Every day I watched the house from my swing. I made a pond, a boat, and even a slide for the fairies to find, but the fairies did not come. When Peter saw how sad I looked, he said, "Cheer up, the pink flower buds are blooming." But I wanted to see the fairies. Suddenly I had an idea. Maybe the fairies are only come out at night, I said. Maybe they only sprinkle fairy dust by moonlight. I told Mommy and Daddy what I wanted to do. They let Peter and me camp out and keep watch for the fairies. That evening, Peter and I spread out our sleeping bags. I left the fairies a sweet snack of honeysuckle and berries. Do you think they'll come? Asked Peter. Yes, I said, and added in a whisper, I really hope so. We told each other stories until Peter fell asleep. As the night got darker, I heard crickets and owls, but not a single fairy. Once I thought I heard some soft, gentle humming. It was just Peter. He was snoring. I did everything I could to stay awake. I looked up at the moon. I counted the stars. I didn't want to miss the fairies, but as I counted the stars, my eyelids got heavy. I couldn't help it. I drifted off to sleep. The next thing I knew, I heard a birds singing. I opened my eyes. It was dawn. I heard hushed voices in the garden. Mommy and Daddy were looking at something together. How beautiful, they said. As I stretched, a sweet smell filled the air. All around me, colorful flowers were in full bloom. I looked at the fairy house. The honeysuckle and berries were gone. The fairies came, I cried. They came, but I missed the whole thing. Peter started to sniffle. Don't cry. Look, I said. Up in the air, I could see glimmers of light shooting across the early morning sky. Fairies! I gasped. The light shimmered brighter and brighter until it sparkled into sunshine. I knew you were real, I said. My family and I watched the sun come up. Thank you, fairies, I whispered. Whenever they were, I knew they could hear me. Baby Bean, I have a fun fairy garden. I now know why all my flowers are so beautiful out in our gardens and stuff. I can't wait until you come and play with the fairies in the garden, and maybe you can help me make another garden. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed Pinkalicious and her fairy house.